Lucky to Be Here is a podcast that showcases the lives and experiences of those who took the leap and navigated big life and career transitions across countries. They share their stories, their lessons, and advice to show us what is possible and what it takes to define and live their idea of success across borders. Because we all need that extra nudge to make our next bold move and build our paths one day at a time. We're more than just lucky to be here. I am Dr. Analia Gomez Vidal, and I know a thing or two about big leaps and career pivots across countries. I am the founder of AGV Services LLC, a career development business that empowers bold career explorers, creating their paths across industries and countries without self doubt or overwhelm. To learn more about the work that I do and how we can support you through coaching and community, visit agvservicesllc.com. Welcome to Lucky to Be Here. I am really glad you are. I'm excited to welcome today Carmen Fleitas. Carmen Fleitas is an advocacy and communications expert working at the United Nations with over 8 years of international experience spanning Latin America and Asia. She has worked in international organizations and nonprofits focusing on sustainable development. Welcome, Carmen, and thank you so much for being lucky to be here.
Thank you for having me, Nelly. I'm very happy.
I am too. And we were talking before starting with the recording that it's been over a decade since the last time that we saw we saw each other in person. And I'm like so excited to have this conversation to share more about your journey and also as a way of catching up in many
I
ways.
know, right? It's so weird. Like we were in our 20s.
So very briefly, Carmen and I met as participants of the Harvard Project for Asian International Relations, HPAIR,
Yes.
in 2022 when we had the conference in
2012.
Taipei. Oh, yeah, you're right, 2012.
2012, yes.
I'm trying to make us younger.
Yeah.
So yeah, and at that point, Carmen, you were living in Taipei, right?
Yes. I was an undergrad, about to graduate from international relations, in
Mhm.
National Challenge University. Yeah. Where was
And
HPR hosted actually. Yeah. That's where we met.
tell us a little bit about where you're from, where you have been, and where you're now.
I'm originally from Paraguay, from South America. I was born there. And then I had the opportunity to actually live in different countries around the region. And then after I graduated high school, I did my undergrad in Taiwan. I did international relations. And then after that, again, I had another opportunity to do my master's in the UK and start working abroad. My first mission was in Panama. Then I moved back to Paraguay, and now I'm here in Thailand, actually working for the United Nations in communications, more or less doing communications and project management things, all related to human rights or sustainable development. Yeah, so that's been the journey so far.
And
Yeah.
quite a journey. So to bring us to the beginning, you mentioned that, like growing up, you have been living in different places, but what led you to do your undergrad in Taiwan?
Yeah, so it's gonna be a little political, but Paraguay is one of the countries that recognizes Taiwan as a country. So we
Mm-hmm.
have a good scholarships. So I had a scholarship that allowed me to go to study there. And the reason I did international relations is because I was always interested in becoming a diplomat. Actually, and fun story is that on my last year of undergrad, I realized that I didn't want to become a diplomat. I hated it. So I was just like, what am I going to do now? And that's how, by taking a class in human rights, I said, okay, let me give a shot in working in the area of development.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that. That's why I did my master's in human rights. And yeah, here I am 10 years later working in that area. So yeah, I started my undergrad thinking one thing and ended wanting to do something completely different. Had sort of like a crisis before graduating, more or less, that I think we all have at some point in our lives while studying, right?
Yes. And I will say, actually, I'm glad you say that because that is very similar to my own experience when I started undergrad, thinking that I was going to be a diplomat. But I am curious, when you had that realization, what do you feel sparked it?
So I started doing, so these modern nations, like all of these
Mhm,
activities that if you are an international relations student, you should do in order to gain practice. And I
mhm,
realized, no, this is not for me. I don't like being in the spotlight. I don't like that. I like being like more on like doing the research or the drafting the papers or doing like more on the ground work.
mhm.
So yeah, this is like diplomacy. It's not for me. That's when it hit, and I was just like, okay, what am I gonna do now? At that point, then I realized, okay, let me try something else different. And at university, you had many options, so I did,
Mhm.
and thankfully, I found out something else that I liked.
What's interesting about it too is that for a lot of us that do have those um, tendencies to be interested in languages and traveling and cultures, a lot of us kind of like at one point or another have thought about like, oh, let me be in the foreign service. And then for many of us, there is almost like a moment of like, you know what? Maybe not that way. And despite that moment, there are so many other ways of really connecting with that curiosity and that skill set and that lifestyle. What do you feel since then has shaped your career so far?
Being like brutally honest, I think that
Mhm,
it's just that craving of like always like wanting to learn more about different things. So because when I finished my masters in the UK, I really wanted to stay around and in Europe, and then I realized uh that no, like if I wanted to do the groundwork, I need to go back to Latin America, and that's what I did. But then I said, I don't know if where I am at the moment in Paraguay is the reason. It's a place I have to be. So I started looking other opportunities around. So it's always like that feeling of wanting more and thinking that I could do more.
mhm,
And so yeah, I think that's was my main reason of like having other opportunities working in other countries aside of my own, right, aside from Paraguay. I just wanted like like in the sense of like having different paths that I told like wanting to become a diplomat and stuff. It's not only during your career that you realize those you have those realizations. It's also when you start working, because it happened to
mhm,
me because I did studied human rights and now I'm doing communications, and that was a complete shift as well. And that
mhm,
was during while I was working, I realized that, oh, maybe I'm also like a little bit more creative. Maybe I can do something different, like try out different things. And that's how I ended up working in communications like for the past 3 or 4 years. And people are like, but
mhm.
you have no background. I'm like, yeah, but it's the opportunities, and it's like what you're good at, like like you're calling in a way, I must say. Yeah. So
And if I may like dig deeper into that space, because I think that a lot of the discussions that we're having as part of this podcast have to do with with the big pivots in terms of the countries and like moving abroad and figuring out how to do that. But there are also pivots within pivots, right? And even during our careers, we shift a lot as we are learning. So when you encounter that moment of transition from human rights to communications, and you would have people ask you in those terms, what what has helped you navigate that shift for you?
first of all, I have to say that I sometimes we do underestimate ourselves a lot, because when they ask you these questions like how come, like they're assuming that you don't know enough, and like you're and I believe that at the end of the day you just have to really really be very brave and just like face it and say like, I believe in myself and I think I'm good at it, and if I don't believe in myself, who else will? But also what really helped me as well is like doing an extra courses, like they also invested in my education aside from my undergrad and my master's. I did other courses, like other certificates that also gave me that sort of like backup that other people, when they had those, I was like, no, I also studied other things as well. It's not like only international relations or only human rights. That's not only the only thing that I can do. Yeah.
And one of the things that I highlight through Lucky to Be Here is that there is more than just luck that get us here, right? And so what I'm hearing you say is, well, there was a combination of trusting myself and believing in what I'm capable of doing, and also giving myself the tools to be prepared so that I can follow through with it.
Yeah, you're right. Like it's a lot of investing in yourself, and I had the opportunity as well. I know that I'm very lucky that I am able to invest in my education, and continue to grow that way, because I don't know in 10 years if I'm going to be doing the same thing that I'm doing right now.
Mhm.
Who knows? Who knows? I'm gonna shift to another path. Um, and
Or in the same country.
or in the same, no, I know that I'm not gonna be here in like in like 2 years. I know I'm gonna be elsewhere, but who knows where.
Mhm.
And because I also think that living abroad like gives you another perspective, like another, like I feel like you, like 1 year living abroad, like your first year you grow like it's like living 5 years in your country or something like that. Like
Mhm.
the way that you think, how you view, how you the world is like it shifts completely. Like your growth mindset is it's different. Yeah.
And one question that I have a few questions from this, but the first one is, you had the opportunity to, you grew up in Paraguay, and then you travel across different countries, and then you had the opportunity to come back to Paraguay and work there for a little bit. And I'm curious to hear your experience through seeing your home country from that perspective of the working adult that is coming back after many years of living abroad. What stood out to you when, like, you were in that, like, coming back?
Well, that's a good question, because um so I left when I was a teenager, and I came back when I was 28.
Hmm.
So 10 years. And I think that it hits you because you start, like, you when you arrive first, like you feel that you're like that, like teenager that left at the beginning, like you feel that it's
Hmm.
everything's gonna be the same, but
Yeah.
no, the world moved. Well, or you also grow, like like things happen, like I don't know, like your friends moved on, like it's like sort of like starting over in your own country,
Hmm.
you know
Yeah.
uh you have to, you have to find your ground again. Even though you do have family there and you are from there, it's not the same. You don't feel part of that culture anymore. So it's like
Hmm.
you have to go through the same adaptation process that you did when you moved to another country or a new country. Of course, it's not going to be as hard, but it will take some time. And the working culture too, like maybe you are used to a different working culture if you were, I don't know, like in the States, or let's say in the
Hmm.
UK, or even in Asia. So adapting to those costumes too, even though you are from there, uh yeah, it takes time. And it's a cultural shock too. It's like reverse cultural
Hmm.
shock,
Yeah,
going back to your
absolutely.
home country and like realizing, like, okay, I'm used to another set of rules and standards that here are of course different. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially because I think that, like you mentioned, not just the amount of time that went by, but also how formative those years are. Like, for me, I moved to the US for grad school at 25. And so, like, I'm a completely different person a decade plus after. So it's both like the formative years of our adulthood plus the transformative element of all these other experiences across countries. And one thing that you mentioned that I was actually a perfect segue to my next question is, you know, you are someone whose journey is very much about being on the go and adapting and transforming across countries and across career pivots. What what helps you ground yourself through so many transformations?
I think that I have I'm very lucky that my family supports me. Like
Mhm,
they are like you do you, like whatever makes you happy. So when I am facing those transitions, I have them. Like I
mhm,
know I can rely on them. Like and I can have a conversation, and like they're the biggest fans. Even though
mhm,
sometimes they sound like crazy when they tell me I'm moving to Thailand. Like next month I'm leaving. They're like, we are very happy for you. Like we support you, like what do you need, let me my mom was the first one, like helping with all of the documents, and that's very nice, you know, like having that
mhm,
that gives me the strength to believe that I can start over. Because le- putting the example of this move that actually it was like a year ago going back, it's
mhm.
like it's starting from zero. I never been to Thailand. I don't speak the language. I didn't know anyone. It was literally me, one suitcase, and arriving in Bangkok. And so from like a city, I'm from Asuncion, like 500,000 people to like a
Mhm.
10 million people, like city. Like it's like one of
Wow.
the largest cities in the world. Like, yeah. It's actually, it is having a good network. I think that's the most
Mhm.
important thing. Like, building a good support system, which I am again, very lucky that I have that with my family.
So I do want to explore a little bit more of these differences across cultures that you have experienced. So let me start with asking you, what has been the biggest contrast that you have experienced between being an undergraduate student in Taipei and being a graduate student in the UK?
First of all, like I was able to understand most of the things that were happening around. That was the first. Oh, this is so nice. No, but jokes aside, um, it was the critical thinking of universities in the UK, like the way, like
Mhm,
because you had 1 hour class and then 1 hour seminar where you debated what was happening in the class, like
mhm,
and the teaching method that they used in my university was more of like the teacher gives this like the lecture, and then like you have to study for the exam what the teacher says you have to study, you take the exam, you pass, that's it, you don't question much. Like you're able
mhm.
to, like, let's say argument like in the exams and everything, but it's most likely what the professor already suggests you for you to think. In the UK it was not like that. It was like, okay,
Yeah.
like debate why this is wrong, and I'm like, okay. So I think that was like the different, like the thing that struck me the most, like the
Mhm.
critical thinking of the universities in the UK. I thought
Yeah.
that was amazing, and actually that's where I started questioning myself a lot.
Interesting. So one side question that I have about that is, um, to what extent do you feel that that difference was a function of the education systems versus the type of program, meaning, you know, undergraduate versus graduate?
I think it was mostly of like the education system that they graduate, because like
Mhm,
both programs, the one that I studied in my undergrad, it was okay. To be fair, we were like 5 international students. The rest were like
mhm.
Taiwanese. Like it was,
Yeah.
but we did have a lot of exposure. Like the I took classes that were like a lot of international students took. Like I did a mix in a way, like Chinese English.
Mhm.
Um, but even like for the internationals, like the structure was different. The
Yeah.
one that I just mentioned to you. So, but in the UK, like I'm talking like the structure, the way they facilitated the class, it
Mhm.
was, yeah, it was a completely different way. So yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. And um you mentioned, that that's also when you are in graduate school in the UK is when you start also questioning, like asking yourself a lot of questions. Um, what do you feel has been the most impactful part of that process for you?
So at the personal level, I can tell you, like, for example, I learned, it's because I don't know, for you, like, coming also from like South America, very,
Hmm.
like, well, Argentina I think is more open than Paraguay. Well, our country is very conservative, very like
Yeah.
you have to obey, you cannot say no, you have to say yes.
Hmm.
Being able to question and say, actually I can put boundaries. I can say no. Like, if I don't
Hmm.
feel this is right, I should not do it.
Yeah.
Which is sadly in like traditional countries, that's not the case. Like, you have to follow
Hmm.
the rules even if you don't agree with it, because like you have
Yeah.
to do it either way. That's what's the way, and that's always the way it's been, so you cannot question it. So that's probably like what, in the personal level else. And that's also why when I went back home, I was just like,
Hmm.
I don't know if I can be here right now. I think I need to go somewhere else, and then I'm gonna come back. And that's what I did, and it helped a lot, actually.
Interesting. Yeah. So like in some ways, it opened your mind to kind of like make things or make your experiences your own in a different way. I am curious to ask how that opening up, not just of the experiences, but also of like your perspective and mindset to what's happening in your life, how did that translate into your everyday experiences throughout your career?
So let's put it this way. When I graduated, when I finished my master's and my undergrad, I said, if I can do this in another country in a language that is not my first language, I can do anything I want. I can do it. Like, there is no limits. So when I started working, it was the same mindset of like, okay, if they can do it, so I can do it. So that's what also encouraged me to, like, if I don't want to stay here, okay, what can I do to like find a job, an opportunity abroad, like that can help me grow not only as a professional but also as a person. So okay, and trial and error. It's not like
Mhm.
it's not like the first opportunity that I applied to or that I wanted, I got it. No, it like took me a long time. Like yeah. It was like trial and error. Yeah, for several. But I kept going. Like I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, if it's not me, no one else gonna do it for me.
Yeah. And like what I'm hearing is that sense of agency, right? Like you felt empowered to take
Yes.
on, like kind of that sense of responsibility for yourself and your agency to be like, you know what? I need to make it happen. I need to advocate for myself and what I want. Um, and what kept you going during the lows of that process?
It was it was a lot, like, what there were points that I felt like, yeah, I don't think it's gonna be possible. But then I was just I honestly, the thought of like being able to already conquer a few things, like being able to do certain things in and previous years, I was like, if I did it before, why can I not do it now? Like, what's like if I have this belief, like this mantra in my life, that what is for me, it will happen. If it's not for me, then it's okay, like let it go. But
Mhm.
when it's time, it will happen. And that's what
Mhm.
exactly happened, like that's what's always been like this. Like, there is a reason why it's not
Mhm.
happening. That's my mantra.
Do you have an example that you could share about that?
Yeah. Actually, like, again, like going back, like Thailand. So
Yeah.
I was um I was working in Paraguay again, like for the UN, and I was just like, okay, I need to I need to grow. Like I want to like do that international jump within the UN. Like, now I'm working as like a local staff, but I want to become an international. I have that experience. And I tried for many years. I tried like for 1 year and a half, probably. I was like applying, 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 because you have to apply. It's not like you
Mhm.
can like, yeah, I want to
Yeah.
move, I want to move. No, you have to apply. It's like applying to another job, basically. I had to quit
Yeah.
to my job in Paraguay to actually get this one that I have now.
Mhm.
And I was not getting anywhere. And there was like a point, it's like, am I ever gonna get this? And I believe in the power of manifestation a lot. I have my
Mhm.
vision board and everything.
Yeah.
uh, and I remember I took out I took out my passport. I had to renew my passport back home, so I renewed my passport and I look at it and I was like,
Mhm.
with this passport, I'm going to move out of Paraguay. And 1 year later, I did. I said to myself, so I kept just saying, like I can do it.
Yeah.
Like I have to, I have to, I have to. And also, again, my parents were like, I know you really want it, so they were like always like giving me their support in any way they
Mhm.
could, like Carmen,
Yeah.
like, like there is this, there is that, like also giving me that, because I don't know for you, but like there are some family members that might say like, oh, why you want to leave? Like here is so nice, you have everything. Like my parents were like,
Mhm.
if you want to, you do it, like experience that. Like you have to live your own life in your own terms. So if that makes you happy, go for
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So
Yeah, I can relate, especially because in my case, it's more kind of like the initial resistance of Analia, you're out of your mind. Why would you do this? And kind of like bracing for impact, and then me going ahead and doing it. And then as soon as I do it, unconditional support. It's like, okay, you're now in the middle of it. We're going to back you.
that's
You're
amazing. Yeah.
going to see it through. But it's very interesting because there is that, like, there is a little bit of the, like an inner dialogue of like, am I out of my mind? And then also hearing their voices being like, Analia, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, but also what helped me a lot, and I'm not gonna lie to you, is the fact of
Mhm.
meeting other people that were in that same
Yeah.
situation as I was. Like
Yeah.
there was one point I was like, am I the only one that feels like, am I the only one struggling? And then I remember I did a course,
Hmm.
and I met tons of other people that were like me. I was like, I'm not alone. That made me feel better, because there are some
Yeah.
times that you feel lonely, like you feel like I am I'm the only one like is going through this. Like there is no one else that knows what I'm feeling, and that's not true. And finding
Hmm.
those people along those low, that also that happened to me. Like so I met this girl. I remember I told her like, I feel like it's like, and like she was Mexican and living abroad. And tell me, Carmen, no worries, like it's gonna happen. And then she's actually an influencer, a LinkedIn influencer, and I followed her. And that's how I found a job in Thailand. And then she was telling me about Thailand. She was telling me she did her master's in Thailand, actually.
Hmm.
Thailand is amazing, blah, 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 blah. I was like, I don't know anything about Thailand. I don't care about Thailand. I don't like Thailand. I don't like the whole. I was like super negative about it. So,
Yeah.
no, but Thailand is really pretty. Okay, if you say so, okay, maybe it could be interesting. And she posted that job. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, she said that it was cool. Okay, I'll apply. And like that was the only job that I applied in Thailand, and I got. I was like, you see, like I don't know,
Yeah.
like sometimes like those circumstances, that at some point in your life you don't know why you meet these people or have these conversations. Yeah, there's a reason. That's why I say there's always a reason.
Yes, and also I think like it speaks, this is a very common thread that pops up in a lot of our conversations, that the power of the networking as a building community, right? Because like so many times we think about it as like reaching out to people for a specific job when you're looking for that one job. And like, no, there is so much more to it. There is the connecting with those who are going through the same process as you are, to support one another through those, like in the trenches while you're at it. And then you never know how like things move forward. And then, you connect, reconnect, continue to support one another, bring these like beautiful gifts of like openings that you had not thought about, that then
Like
become,
us, like how we met each other, like 12 years ago. So imagine,
yes, 13 actually.
13. Yeah, 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 13. Imagine. Yeah.
Yes.
No, no, no. Imagine, like, so also, like, during the same course that I met this girl, and we were in the like we were in the same situation. We wanted to chill, and we were supporting each other. We were supporting. So I found this job. I also found this job. Like, let's apply. Like, and how is it? How's it going? How's your application? Blah, blah, blah. And then at the same time, we both got a new job at the same time, a job offer. And it was like so nice. Like, so also, like, again, like finding the persons that they're going through the same thing as you
Yeah.
are, like it's honestly, it's really amazing, and it helps you a lot not to feel alone.
Yeah. So I feel like that is a great piece of practical advice, right? Like, as if someone is listening and they're going through a similar scenario or situation, kind of like feeling the doubts or going through the ups and downs, to seek for those spaces and communities and people that are going through it, so that you can lean into one another as part of the process. If you had to share a piece of advice of what not to do that you have done in the past, what would you say that is?
Oh, I have one actually. Is
Okay.
that don't well, first of all, like, of course, personal, like, don't underestimate yourself. Like, don't think like, oh yeah, I'm not good enough for this. Like, why am I going to apply for this, or why am I gonna do this if like there's someone always better than me? Like, they're gonna not gonna choose me. No, don't do that. Like, and I
Mhm.
feel that I can speak for myself. Like, I feel like sometimes I feel like an imposter. I have the imposter syndrome, that I am like, like fake it until you make it. That's what I feel like
Mhm.
sometimes. Like, I'm faking all of this. This is not real.
Okay.
But um on another level of, like, like wanting to live abroad, and like you think, oh my god, this amazing life, super fancy, like blah blah. I remember when I moved to Thailand. Again, this is the
Mhm.
most recent one because I had a lot of cultural shocks here, I must tell you. Like,
Uh-huh.
it took, and I was like, it's gonna be easy. Like, I was like having this assumption of like, it's gonna be. I did it once. Like, I went into Taiwan. Like, it's gonna be the same. Like, 6 months, completely adapt. No, go with an open mind. Like, always, always, never treat the same place, like one place that's gonna be same as the rest. It was,
Mhm.
and I think that really hit me. Like, the fact that I thought it was gonna be a certain way, that I already had my assumptions, that I already had like an idea of what was gonna happen, the way it was gonna happen. So it's gonna happen this, and nothing like that happened. Like, it was completely. I had like this year had an earthquake. I didn't know that in Bangkok had earthquakes. So I was just like, completely like out of. So go with an open mind. Like, don't close yourself
Mhm.
to the idea that things have to go your way. Otherwise, it won't. It's not like it's not the correct way, because you're gonna hit yourself with a big wall, and you are
Mhm.
going to crash, and it's going like you're gonna build yourself up again. But it will be easier if you just don't go with an open mind
Yeah.
always.
So what I'm hearing is a little bit of that balance between be like feel reassured enough that you're going to figure it out, but at the same time keep that beginner's mind of it's a new experience and you're there to learn.
Yes, 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 yes.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit. You mentioned that you had multiple cultural shocks as part of your this past year adjusting to life in Thailand. Um, what is one that stands out to you that you would feel comfortable sharing?
Yeah, sure. I mean, okay, so I was very used to I knew I was moving to Asia, so I sort of like knew how I was gonna be, for example, people wise. Like,
Hmm.
like there's a lot of people here, like in general, in cities in
Yeah.
Asia, Bangkok being one of the most popular and famous, right? Like 10 million people.
Hmm.
And I used to live in Taipei before, which is also a big city. So I was like, oh, it's
Mhm.
gonna be easy peasy, transportation, great. Like I can like drive. I used to drive a scooter back in Taiwan, so I can drive a scooter here. Like it's gonna be great. And then I arrive here, pure chaos. But I'm not lying. Like I was astonished at the way like the scooters was like they were going through the cars, they were about to crash, blah, 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 and I was like, what is this? People all over the place. Like why there are so many people here? And that really, like, honestly, that was like a big thing for me. Like the noise, like, so crowded. It took me a while. It took me a
Mhm.
while, especially the traffic is really bad. Some like
Yeah.
peak hours here is like the city never sleeps. Now I'm used to it. I am now using the scooters and everything, la la.
Mhm.
But it took me a while. It took me a while
Yeah.
to accept it. Yeah.
Yeah, based on what you described, like, I can imagine it's like the sheer scale and magnitude of everything happening around you all the time.
Yes. 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 Yes.
On the flip side, what do you feel is, like, your favorite thing about life in Thailand so far?
I think that here is very convenient in the
Mhm.
sense of like you can get everything delivered. I became like an addict, like shopping, like I do everything online. No, but also like the food is great. The
Mhm.
people are very nice, like very very, like I honestly feel that Bangkok itself or Thailand is like the Latin American version of Asia. That's how I see it. Honestly,
Interesting.
like really, like yeah. It's like
Tell
the
me
Latin
more, tell
American
me
version
more.
of Asia. Like the food is great, people are nice, like the weather is
Mhm.
great, like and everyone is just like people are so like, and I feel like we're also very nice. So honestly,
Mhm.
like and yeah, I feel I see a lot of similarities with Latin America, honestly, like Thailand. Yeah.
So you feel that in some ways it's like it's the closest you've felt to home while you are in Asia Pacific.
It has a lot of similarities. I feel that for me to make it a home,
Mhm.
and I always tell this to people when they are also deciding to move abroad or they want to like have that experience, is you're gonna get homesick a lot
Mhm.
at the beginning,
Yeah.
but what makes it, what when you're gonna start like feeling like home in this new place is the people that you choose to be with around you, like your group of friends, like that circle. And I think that is what makes it or breaks it when you move abroad.
Mhm.
Because if you like aside of your family, like your friends are home, you are gonna be always connected to them, and that's gonna give you always like like that homesickness of like, oh, I want to go
Yeah.
back, or you're gonna start idealizing your country. You're gonna be like,
Mhm.
oh, I don't know, in Paraguay is better, or oh, in Paraguay I did this and did that, but what, and you are having that line. But once when you start like living in the present and living in the new place that you are right now with your new friends and everything, which takes
Mhm.
time, of course.
Yeah.
So you're gonna meet someone like in 1 week. It might happen, it
Yeah.
might not. Maybe if you're very lucky, right? But
Yes.
having that network is the
Mhm.
thing that makes it or breaks, I think, in one country.
Yeah, and it definitely resonates a lot with a lot of the conversations that we've been having so far, and with my own experience as well. One of the things that I have noticed over the years is feeling very lucky that on one like there is someone waiting for me at each airport, right? And at the same time, I will cry every time that I leave each airport because I'm going to miss those communities throughout. Um, so I do want to make sure that we touch briefly on, your experience working in the United Nations system, because I know that for many people who might be listening, that is something that they are interested in as part of developing a career in international development, and especially in international organizations like the UN. Um, so you shared a little bit about what you went through in kind of like being in Paraguay and seeking to become an international officer, being now in Thailand. If you had to give a piece of advice to anyone who's interested in joining a career in international development, and particularly at the UN, what would you suggest them to do after they're done listening to this episode?
Well, I think the first, of course, is the language. Like you need to, like I think being proficient, like of course, aside from English, in other like either Spanish, French, it's one of the things that you have to have in order to, because it's a big pool, like a lot of competition. It's like you don't like standing out is very like it's very hard. You compete with a lot of people, and so languages is a must. But also I feel that one of the things that stands out for people that want to go into the path of the United Nations is having first that background in NGOs, you know, like in grassroots organizations, like working with communities. Um, that is also something that you have to do before going to the end, because sometimes, honestly, it feels that you are a little bit detached from reality.
Hmm.
You don't get to work, but you require that expertise of being in the underground, and you get that
Yeah.
experience for underground being in the non-profit sector, or even in the private sector. Even like you can have experience in the private sector and have, but you do need a little bit of experience prior to going to like in another
Hmm.
in other organizations. So that's what I did actually. I worked for 5 years in the nonprofit sector before getting like the opportunity to join the UN. Yeah.
Mhm. So building that portfolio both in terms of languages, but also the on the ground experience and expertise that you can leverage later on in the system.
Yeah, and project management. A lot of project
Mhm.
working in projects, like being able to know like to handle the basics of project management. That is a added value, like because it's a lot of it's a lot of project management, like technicalities that you need to work through. And if you already
Mhm.
have the background, um, that's also good.
So before we close for today, I have one last question for you. And actually, I'm going to make it two. The first one is, if you were to meet the version of yourself who bought into this international career and kind of like hopping and pivoting across countries and jobs, what would you like her to know?
10 years ago, okay. You will be fine. It's not gonna be easy. You will make it. Trial and error. But yeah, trust your gut. Trust your gut. Trust what because that's really like what you want. Trust what you want, not what everyone else telling you that you have to do. Because they're not living your life. You're living your. You have to forge your own path, and trust that and believe in that, and just go for it and say yes. Say yes. Say yes to opportunities. Yes.
And in that spirit, my last question, now the last one for real, is, let's speak into existence. What is one thing on your vision board coming up?
Actually, for me, actually, I saw, or when I decided to move to Thailand, I saw it like as a jump, or like the jump for a more strategic role. So right now I am in more like the regional level.
Mhm.
My I'm very career wise. I'm very like that's one of the things that I'm trying to work a little bit more like that personal work life balance. But the my vision board is like the next thing is like try to work at HQ levels. Not New York or anything like that, but more like either going to Nairobi,
Okay.
where like like most of the agencies are migrating to, like trying to get an opportunity working in HQ,
Mhm.
at any agency of the that will be my next thing on the vision board that I'm hoping I'm working towards too.
We will circle back to this episode when that time comes and confirm that you spoke it into existence.
Yes, 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 for sure.
It's been
Yeah.
a pleasure to have this conversation with you, Carmen. Thank you so much for your time today and for joining us in Lucky to Be Here.
No, no, thank you, Nelly. I'm very happy to be here and talking with you. It's great catching up after so many years, and hopefully it won't be the last, and you'll be able to come visit me in Thailand or somewhere else where I'm gonna be. I don't know where, or I'll visit you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, and you've been a fantastic host when I was in Taipei, so I really do look forward to another adventure together soon.
Yes, yes, yes. Hopefully soon.
If you made it to the end of this episode, thank you. Remember that you can use code LUCKY25, LUCKY25, to get 20% off when you subscribe to my coaching membership, AGV Lab for Career Explorers. Learn more about AGV Lab and book your call to join using the link in the show notes. That is all for today. My name is Dr. Analia Gomez Vidal, and I thank you for joining us today on Lucky to Be Here. If you liked this episode, please make sure to rate and review and subscribe wherever you're listening. You can also sign up to our newsletter using the link on our show notes to access the video version of our episodes. To learn more about the work that I do to support bold career explorers across countries through coaching and community, please visit agvservicesllc.com and follow AGV Services LLC on LinkedIn and Instagram. I'll see you next time.